This is a podfic for Peter is Worthy and So Done. Read by Alextras with permission from the original author who has chosen to remain anonymous. Chapter 5. The fifth time it happened, enough time had passed to allow Tony to forget all about the near collapse of his tower. So, a few weeks later, he had Thor move the hammer into Peter's workspace, placing it on a desk along with a full cake, hoping to jog the kid's memory with it. His more sensible friends, even Friday, had tried to warn him it would be a bad idea to keep tempting the fate. One of these days he would probably learn to listen to them. Nah, not likely. When Peter entered his lab that day, his eyes shot immediately to the hammer. Tony, had he given it more thought, would have realized that the red creeping across the kid's face, much like Hulk's green, wasn't from embarrassment or other harmless emotion. He was hiding behind some lab equipment, grinning excitedly, ready to catch him lifting the hammer and then immediately go with a gotcha as he once and for all explained what it meant. Maybe even see if Thor was still around for a meet and greet. He had not foreseen Peter grabbing the hammer in anger and yelling, "My notes! I spent all night writing them down by hand because you were doing maintenance on Friday! Stark!" And Peter turned around, marching straight towards Tony's hiding place, shaking in his hand pieces of paper that looked crumbled and they had burn marks on them. Oh no. Tony backed away. "I can explain this," he tried nervously. Now was the time to lay down all his cards. "See, Thor's hammer—" He was interrupted, rather rudely too, in his opinion. "Oh, you can explain. You know, I'm sick of this hammer being everywhere I go," Peter seethed, too upset and looking oddly familiar. He looked much like the face in Tony's mirror after a few too many all-nighters. Oh no. Tony began to realize he was trying to reason with a sleep-deprived teenager whose mood was probably powered by hormones. "And now I'm going to have to do it all over again." Peter deflated suddenly, wavering in place. "Don't feel so good," he muttered. "Kid?" Tony reached out a hand in concern. Peter shook his head. "I'm going home. Here." He pushed the hammer into Tony's hand, which in response tightened around the handle. "Wait!" Like a heavy rock, the hammer smacked right on the floor, nearly pulling his arm off. Tony gasped and shot his eyes wide open, staring straight ahead while his mind went blank at the sudden turn of events. Then he made a soft, high-pitched keening sound. Peter rolled his eyes. "Oh, come on. I know you love being dramatic, but that's just a hammer. One that's barely heavy enough to do more than maybe bruise a little." Tony simply stared, gesturing weakly at the hammer, at his toes, where the thing now rested. His look of pain turned into horror as the kid, still upset with his boss, turned around and left the room without a second glance. He had learned from the best. Despite how shaky he looked, his exit was almost as dramatic as Tony at his best and worst. If Tony hadn't been in too much pain, he would have been proud. "Wait, take the hammer." "Boss," Friday said, "shall I call Doctor—" "No. Tell Thor to get here and get his stupid hammer off my stupid foot." Tony ended up with a cast on his foot, in Iron Man colours of course. He refused to speak to anyone about it, moping for days. He even tried to give the silent treatment with Peter, but as the kid was already giving him the silent treatment, the whole thing resulted in them talking to one another through Friday. Eventually, Tony forgot why he'd been so upset in the first place, and so he caved first, begging for the kid to keep him company as he was bored, everyone else was busy, and he wanted to blow stuff up. Peter agreed, but only after Tony promised to keep trash out of his lab, for real this time.